Hi guys, welcome back. We're continuing our discussion on erosion. Today we're going to talk about how gravity is also an agent of erosion. It's able to move the weathered rock to new locations. So first thing we want to do is review what weathering, erosion, and deposition are. So think back to what we've learned so far, maybe even back to that poem, the Break, Move, Drop poem. So weathering is where we break down the rock. Erosion is where it's carried from one place to another, and deposition is where it's dropped in a new location. Our fact for today is the Outer Banks in North Carolina. I was wondering if some of you guys have been there before. But it's actually made up of barrier islands instead of barrier beaches because the islands don't connect to the mainland. So mass movement, we're moving a bunch of weathered material in a large section. Usually this is moving things downhill. And as we know, the force that pulls things down is gravity. So mass movement is caused by gravity. Here are some pictures we're going to look at, 4 different types of mass movement. Again, all of these are caused by gravity, as gravity pulls these sediments in the downward direction. So the first one is a landslide. Just like the name implies, it is the ground, the land, or the sediments, the rock and soil, being pulled down the slope of a hill, kind of like it's riding a slide down. So in this picture here on the left, you can see the brown, that's all the soil that has come down the hillside. The green stuff, those are the trees and vegetation on the hillside. And then this area down here where you're seeing what look like streets and houses, that is actually streets and houses. Many of them have been covered by all of the rock and soil that has come down that slope. The next one we're going to talk about is a mudslide. Very much like a landslide, although there's lots of water involved, which turns that rock and soil into mud. Landslides, mudslides, both happen very quickly. They're going to happen very fast. Both of them can be triggered by earthquakes. Sometimes we have the soil and the earth dropping as one large mass, and it kind of goes more straight down. We call that slump. I always think of, you sit up nice and tall for your school picture, and then as soon as it's over, you drop your shoulders and kind of slump. You just go from being up tall to being hunched over. Again, it happens very quickly, and it's going to just drop in one large mass. So landslides, mud flows, and slump all happen very quickly. Sometimes the ground is going to move very slowly. When this happens, we call it creep. I always think if somebody's creeping around, they're moving very slow, trying to be very quiet, very sneaky. So if you look in this picture here on the right, you see these fence posts that are at a strange angle. Nobody put them in the ground that way. They were straight up and down when they were put into the ground, but over time, that hillside, the ground along that hillside has actually shifted down the hill thanks to gravity. Again, this is a very, very slow process. It's going to cause fence posts, telephone poles, headstones like in a cemetery to be at strange angles because the ground is shifting as those things have been sitting there. So let's try identifying some examples of these. Here we have 9 pictures, and they're going to be either landslide, mudslide or flow, slump or creep. So take a minute, see if you can figure out what each kind of mass movement the picture is showing. Pause the video if needed. All right, here we go with our answers. So notice in number 1 that ground has dropped. It hasn't gone down the hillside, it's just dropped. Number 2, that dirt has come down the slope of the hill. Number 3 obviously has lots of water to create the mud. Same thing with number 4. Number 5, again, that mass that has dropped did not go completely down the slope of the hill. It just dropped straight down. Number 6, you can see those headstones are at a very strange angle. They were not put into the ground like that. Number 7, showing the fence posts also because of creep has been shifted. Number 8 is a landslide. Again, you can see that dirt and stuff came down that hillside. And number 9, you see those waves almost in the grasses there along the hillside. That is because of the ground being pulled down along that gentle slope thanks to gravity. Take care. I'll talk to you later.